Hello guys and welcome back to another Big Brother episode review, and today we're talking about Sunday night's episode. Live eviction happened on Friday. Zach has now left the house and the house is in a little bit of disarray, which was quite interesting to see. Now, before we get into this episode, I just want to say thank you guys very much for the support on these videos. If you're liking what you're seeing, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all that YouTube stuff. And yeah, basically just give me any indication that you're enjoying what you're seeing. Like immediately after the exit, Trish and Dylan got into some kind of big fight in the kitchen. Trish was cooking herself a sausage sandwich, and Dylan went, "Oh, so you don't want any of this food? That's fine. I won't put any chicken in for you." And Trish seemed upset by that statement, and then Dylan was upset at her for being upset at him, and it was just a very heated discussion for what seemed to be no reason. And I gotta say, I did agree with Dylan in this situation, because I think if you're having a sausage sandwich, doesn't matter if you haven't eaten all day, if you're having a sausage sandwich now, I'm not cooking dinner for you, because that dinner's just gonna go cold. So I could see where they were both coming from, but I personally felt that Dylan was just trying to be conservative with food, because if you don't want food now, you might as well save that food for tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? The other big discussion was about Get Kerry Out. They obviously heard that chant, and it's making people question what they're seeing and what the audience is seeing. I personally believe that what the housemates are seeing is the true Kerry. We are seeing an edited version of her to almost make her the villain of the series. Does that make sense? I can't say that with any degree of certainty, but that's just how I feel from watching the show. That I feel like the show's almost trying to make us dislike her. She spoke about it in the diary room, and she was just trying to reassure herself by believing that it might have been like a lot of Zach fans out there or something like that. I think she's just doing her best to preserve her mental health, because if you're in that kind of pressure cooker environment and you hear the public chanting to get you out, I don't know how well I'd fare in that situation, I'll be honest. And we also saw Tom and Jenkin talking about it, and Tom was basically saying that he likes Kerry, but he doesn't like Hallie, because Hallie is purposely breaking rules, being obnoxious, and I think he called her a liability as well, which was quite interesting. So there's a lot of tension in the house surrounding sort of Kerry, but I think we're going to see a very different side to Kerry this week. I hope we do, because there's only so long the villain card can be interesting on a TV show like this. One of the main parts of the episode was the house meeting, or the tea party, as Big Brother tried to style it off as. But Trish was essentially made the sort of chair, or the what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, the chair of the meeting. She kind of stood up and made the points, and I can't think of the word, but anyway, Trish was in charge essentially, and she was asked to think of 3 topics to bring up to the group so that they could discuss what they could do to sort of ease tensions in the house, which I think was a good idea. I think it led to some very interesting discussions, and I also think it's going to lead to a little bit of drama. But the first topic up was food, and I personally felt like there was a lot of good points made, and then a lot of people just kind of shat on those ideas without actually listening to them and thinking whether they were good ideas or not. Interestingly, Olivia brought up that things are being overbought and underbought, and so that's a struggle with the food budget at the moment. And it just brought me back to when she asked for 4 kilograms of onions back in the first shopping task. And I really don't think she knows what 4 kilograms is, but like, that's a lot of onions for one house. I have to say, Kerry brought up a very, very good point about having a certain allotment of money for individuals so that they can buy what they want as like little treats for themselves. And she mentioned that Jordan likes cheese and onion crisps, and so if he had £5, he could buy a packet of those, or like a 6-pack of those, maybe some chocolate, and that's his stash for the week. And I think that's a really, really good idea. However, I think it was Trish shat on it and said that that's not a very good idea, because where do you stop that, and where do you stop the allotments of stuff? And I think it was just a very poor point that Trish made. Kerry's just asking for a fiver or a tenner. If they get the luxury budget, that's £500, and if it's £5 each, there's 14 of them, so that's what, 70 quid? If it's £5, if it's £10, then it's 140. Sorry, the maths there was not mathin'. But that's like £5 is enough to get yourself a little bit of a treat. If you get like a 6-pack of Walkers or a couple of Kit Kat Chunkies or something like that, it's not much to ask for, and it means that you have some kind of ownership over some of the food, because it feels at the moment that it's all communal and people are getting upset because they're not getting what they want because other people have come in first. The next point that was brought up was about authenticity and realness, and this was a very interesting topic. Jordan basically mentioned that, like, stop asking me if I'm okay, this is my face, it's stuck like that, and it was quite funny, because he does look like he has a face like a slap backside sometimes, and I think that's just his resting face. It's nothing that like he's doing wrong or he's not upset. It's just how his face rests. Some people have a resting bitch face. He has a resting upset face, or not upset, but sort of like brooding. But yeah, I'm really struggling with Noki at the moment. Really struggling with her. She stood up and she started crying about Zach and how things can get misconstrued in the house and innocent actions can be vilified, etc., etc. And it just felt a bit performative. It felt as if she was talking at Zach's wake, as if Zach had died, not as if, oh, I've just got to live without him for 4 weeks and then I can see him again and we can hang out. Do you know what I mean? It just... I'll touch on it a little bit later, but it just felt odd to me. And, like, I was sitting with my friend and we both looked at each other and went, why is she crying? Like, what? Paul stood up and basically said, if you dislike me, tell me that you dislike me, because I can't be bothered with all this fake BS. But then Chanel stood up and went, I don't feel comfortable having those conversations. If I have a problem with you, I'm not going to be able to have those honest conversations with you because I'm too awkward, I'm too anxious, and I was like, do you know what? Fair enough, Chanel. No one should be forced to have an honest conversation with someone if they don't want to. I know that promotes sort of like bitching behind people's backs, but sometimes people don't have the sort of the willpower and the guts to go up to someone and say, you've done wrong, I don't like what you did. And so that's just natural. I'm sorry, but Paul, you suck. On the back of Paul being an awful person, Trish asked for more consideration at bedtime. That was the third topic, consideration. More consideration at bedtime and respect people going to bed earlier. And Paul basically said, well, I'm not going to go to bed earlier because you told me to. And I was like, that's not what she said at all. What she said was, you have the entire house to have your antics. Don't bring it into the bedroom when people are trying to sleep, because that's just disrespectful. And I completely agree. I'm also someone that goes to bed quite late at night and other people in the house are asleep. Does that mean I'm banging and clattering around? No, it does not. It means I'm respectful of other people trying to sleep. Do you see what I mean? And Trish was like, oh, I've come in here for a bit of a rest. And Paul was like, well, this isn't a holiday, this is the Big Brother house. And I was like, well, for like Trish, who is a mother of young children, yes, this is a holiday for her. She probably doesn't get to go away very often, so this is exactly what that is. And I just think Paul is just becoming one of the worst people in the house, unfortunately. There was an issue with flushing toilets that was brought up, and I think everyone around the table was just laughing about it because Hallie and Olivia were saying it in very, very funny terms. But apparently it seems to be quite a big issue in the house. And speaking of big issues in the house, the alcohol issue is another big issue. And we saw that near, like, I think it was halfway through near the end of the episode. But everyone runs to get the alcohol and to get the soft drinks and the refreshments. And sometimes people don't get any. And it's about being respectful. Do you know what I mean? I can't say that if I was in that situation, I'd be more or less respectful because I don't know. I'm not in that situation. However, from what I saw Paul stuffing cans down his trousers. Some people didn't get any. Paul stuffed cans down his trousers. Please, can we vote him up and get him out of the house? Because I'm kind of sick of him now. Let's talk about Gnocchi. So, I mentioned earlier that I'm not trusting her authenticity at the moment because I feel like she's been, especially this week, very performative. She got upset for no reason over the glamping tickets. She kicked off about no vegan options, even though they found them mere seconds after she left to go rant at Big Brother. She kicked off over the NO potentially being about her name and didn't drop it for 2 days. She cried over Zach leaving. Fair enough. I'm not gonna question that. But then I find out that she's been crying over Dylan and Trish's argument, which had nothing to do with her. Why was she crying? Actually, what was the rationale here? Because I was really struggling to understand it. And the conversation I saw between Jordan and Trish, I kind of agreed with. Trish was saying that she doesn't trust Kerry's authenticity. I also agree with that. But I don't trust Gnocchi. As Jordan pointed out, a lot of her sort of Miss UK or whatever the pageant is about performing. And I think she's gotten quite good at it. And I think she is turning on the waterworks when she needs to in order to, I don't know, get screen time, gain sympathy, make sure that she isn't up for the vote next week. I don't know what she's doing, but I'm not trusting it at the moment. And it's just making me dislike her a little bit. I completely agree with what Yinran said in her nominations last week. I don't feel like I've gotten to know Gnocchi. I feel like I've gotten to know every single other housemate, bar Paul and Dylan. Dylan, I feel like I like a lot more than I did first week, but Paul I still know nothing about because he's just a nothing person. He's the personification of wet cardboard. But I just don't feel like I've gotten to know Gnocchi at all, and that's a real shame, unfortunately. They were in the kitchen, all of them, and they decided to make some music using whatever they could find. Yinran was just clapping along very much offbeat, and it was very funny. Dylan was using his leg, not his leg, his like bionic leg, and Matty was doing some horrendous wailing that I wish I couldn't have heard. And I personally felt like they could have not shown us that clip and my life would have been better, which is saying a lot, I think. But alas, they showed us it and it was alright. Yeah. I found it very cringy, and like there was a brief period where it was sounding actually quite good, and then Matty opened his mouth and started wailing, and yeah, no, that was tough to listen to, I must say. Speaking of Matty, it's time to discuss Matty and Jordan and Henry and their little love triangle, because currently I can only see it ending in disaster, and it's getting uncomfortable to watch. I don't feel like Matty has any feelings for Jordan other than friendship. I think Jordan thinks he has feelings for Matty, and Henry obviously has feelings for Jordan. So there's just a really big issue going on at the moment, because I feel so bad for Henry, because those two are obviously flirting, and then Henry's just sat there like a lemon, and it's so upsetting to watch. Like, there were so many moments today where I just really, really wanted the best for Henry, and I just feel like Jordan flip-flops too much. Do you know what I mean? Like, there was a moment where he was like, "Oh, I'll get in the hot tub with you." Walked into the bedroom. Matty was like, "Oh, can I put some makeup on you?" And Jordan went, "Yeah." And then, when I tell you, the makeup was literally a bit of like red something here, and that was it. That was all it was. It wasn't even like he'd done a full face or anything. He'd just put a little bit of there. What was the point? I really, really don't get it. There was a really funny moment where they were whipping each other with towels, but like, I just felt bad for Henry, because Henry was just sat in the hot tub alone. And then Yinran obviously joined, and then Matty joined as well. But like, the whole thing just feels really weird to me at the moment, and I don't know why. Surprisingly, I only have two iconic moments of this episode. One of them is a quote, one of them is a moment, and I've got to say, both of them involve Olivia, which surprised me. The first one was when she was done so dirty by the edit, and she just randomly ran outside, gave Noki a lap dance whilst Jenkin was talking about his dead nan, and then ran back inside. What you didn't see was on the live stream, they were playing Truth or Dare inside, but obviously the edit just showed her going outside, giving Noki a lap dance, and then going back inside. I felt so bad, because it came out of nowhere, and it felt so weird for like no reason whatsoever. I'd have rather seen the Truth or Dare conversation than seeing them fucking banging pots and pans. The second Olivia moment was when they were talking about the flushing incident. And Olivia was talking about how she's happy to clean the toilets, but she said the quote, "The poo touching my hand was a harrowing experience." And it was just the way she said it, and the use of the word harrowing, because when do you ever use the word harrowing in a normal situation? It was so funny, and I didn't expect it. But that is all we have time for today. That's all the gossip from last night's episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff, and I will see you later. Bye now. Keep on ranting.